All right, get ready for a deep dive into the world of comedian Andrew Santino.
Oh, it should be interesting. I've heard his name, but honestly, I haven't listened to his stuff much.
You are in for a treat. We're going to unpack one of his Bad Friends podcast episodes, and let's just say it's a wild ride.
Oh, I do love a wild ride. What's on the agenda for this one? Relationship advice, celebrity gossip.
Think a little less glamorous, a little more Butte, Montana.
Okay, now you have my attention. Butte, Montana. That's not exactly known for its comedy scene, is it?
Not unless you count running into characters like Santino did, which, I mean, that's kind of his specialty.
So spill the tea. What kind of characters are we talking about?
So Santino is in Butte filming a movie.
Wait, hold on. People actually film movies in Butte, Montana?
Apparently, and not just with any cast. We're talking Drum Belushi, Leslie Jones, Tiffany Haddish. Okay, now that's a recipe for some serious comedic chaos.
Right. Like, what is that movie even going to be? But anyway, back to Santino and the characters. He's at this unique Chinese restaurant.
Unique? Oh, like Michelin star unique or hole-in-the-wall unique?
Let's just say this particular establishment used to be a brothel. And they didn't exactly do a complete renovation.
Oh, no, that's kind of amazing.
It gets better. So he meets this guy, Jerry, who runs the place. Santino starts making these jokes, kind of pushing the boundaries of good taste, as he does.
Santino's good at that, walking that line.
Oh, yeah. So Jerry's kind of an easy target for Santino's humor. And at some point, Jerry gets all teary-eyed and tells Santino that he has cancer.
Oh, God. Awkward.
Talk about a mood killer. Of course, Santino is mortified, backpedaling, apologizing profusely.
Oh, I can only imagine the cringe.
Right. But then, plot twist. Jerry later tells Santino he was just joking about the cancer.
Wait, seriously? He just made that up?
Yep. And as if that wasn't enough, he then claims he got cancer from eating his own food, which, given Santino's previous descriptions of the food, is a whole other layer of messed up.
This Jerry guy sounds like quite the character.
Oh, just wait, it gets wilder. Remember how we mentioned those Uber situations? Well, buckle up for segment 2, because this one takes us for a ride, literally. So picture this. Santino's leaving an AA meeting.
Wait, back up. AA, as in Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah, apparently Butte has a pretty happening recovery scene. Anyway, he needs to get back to his hotel, but Uber is basically non-existent. Except for this one guy who, as you can imagine, knows everyone in town.
Oh, I bet. Small town life. Everyone knows your business.
Exactly. Yeah. So this friendly couple at the meeting offers Santino a ride. And he's thinking, what could go wrong? Famous last words, right?
Oh, no, I'm already getting nervous for him. I'm picturing those true crime documentaries about accepting rides from strangers.
Right. So they're driving, and Santino realizes they are not going towards his hotel. Like, at all.
Uh-oh. This is where it gets real.
He even sees the giant neon sign for it off in the distance. But they're going in the opposite direction.
Okay, yeah, I'd be freaking out at this point. Did he have a plan?
Oh, Santino's inner monologue is in overdrive. He's debating, do I jump out of the car, fake a seizure, pull the emergency brake? All those rational thoughts you have when you think you might be getting kidnapped.
Totally. Your brain goes to the worst case scenario immediately.
For sure. But just as the tension is at its peak, they pull up to a house.
Oh, thank goodness. So it wasn't a kidnapping situation.
Nope. Turns out they were just being super friendly, inviting him back for some food and to meet their family. No kidnapping involved. Just a classic case of Santino misreading the situation.
Oh my gosh, the relief. But you have to admire his commitment to the bit, right? Riding that wave of anxiety all the way to their doorstep.
Oh, absolutely. And knowing Santino, he probably milked that experience for all it was worth. He even jokes that he sat there awkwardly with the family for an hour before making his escape.
I can just imagine forcing down some lukewarm casserole trying to make small talk.
The things we do for a good story, right? Speaking of relatable, though, let's move on to segment 3, where Santino and his co-host have this hilarious conversation about being young and trying to navigate the LA social scene.
Okay, that I can relate to, minus the LA part. Socializing is its own special kind of minefield no matter where you are.
You got that right. So Santino's co-host, she's telling the story about going to a bar in Hermosa Beach, this place that was hyped up as having all these cute guys. But instead...
Don't tell me. She ends up at some dive bar.
Worse. She ends up surrounded by older men in cowboy hats. Older men in cowboy hats. Not exactly the cute guys she had in mind.
Oh, bless her heart. That's a special kind of disappointment.
Right. And Santino, being the supportive co-host that he is, absolutely roasts her for it. The generational humor is spot on. It's like he's saying, honey, those days are long gone for you, but don't worry, Uncle Santino's still got it.
Oh, I can just imagine him saying that. It's that classic older generation humor, like they're immune to the passage of time.
Totally. But what's even funnier is he then connects those older guys in cowboy hats to their own podcast listeners.
Oh, no, he did not. That's amazing.
It's like he's acknowledging, yeah, our demographic might be middle-aged dudes reliving their glory days. But it's that self-awareness, you know, the ability to laugh at themselves and their audience, that makes it work.
For sure. It's like they're in on the joke, which makes it even funnier. Okay, so we've covered awkward encounters, generational divides. What else does this comedic roller coaster have in store for us?
Buckle up, because Santino takes a deep dive into old Hollywood and gets pretty philosophical about race and culture.
Ooh, okay, this I'm interested in. Santino seems like the type to have some, shall we say, interesting takes on classic films.
You are not wrong. He goes on this whole tangent about old movies and their portrayal of race, specifically bringing up Mickey Rooney in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh boy, yeah, that's not aged well, to put it mildly.
Not at all. And to Santino's credit, he doesn't shy away from calling out the racism. But then, of course, he launches into this over-the-top impression of Mickey Rooney's character.
Oh God, I can already picture it. It's cringy, but you can't look away.
Exactly. And it sparks this bigger conversation about how we, as viewers, engage with movies from different eras, especially ones that have content that's outdated or offensive.
Right, it's a tough one. Do we boycott them altogether? Try to appreciate them within their historical context, even with the problematic stuff?
It's a tricky balance, for sure. But it's important to have those conversations. Okay, ready for something completely different?
At this point, bring it on. After cowboy hats and Mickey Rooney impressions, I'm ready for anything.
Okay, brace yourself. We're entering the strange and surprisingly hilarious world of cicadas.
Cicadas, like the noisy bug?
The one and only. Apparently, Santino's co-host had never heard a cicada before.
Oh my God, I can only imagine his reaction.
He was horrified, yet fascinated. He even plays a recording of their sound.
I bet that was delightful for the listeners.
It's an experience. But the cicada tangent, that's just the tip of the iceberg. From there, they go on to discuss those mysterious angelic trumpets people claim to hear in remote areas.
Oh yeah, those unexplained sounds, often chalked up to paranormal activity or some kind of otherworldly phenomenon.
Right. It's amazing how these things capture our imaginations. And while there might be logical explanations, wind, animals, who knows, some of them remain unexplained. It's kind of eerie.
It's a good reminder that we don't have all the answers, and there's still a sense of wonder and mystery out there.
And that's a wrap on Andrew Santino and the Bad Friends podcast. From awkward encounters in Butte, Montana to philosophical debates about old Hollywood, it's safe to say this episode had a little bit of everything.
It really did. Santino has this unique way of finding humor in the most unexpected places. He's relatable, he's thought-provoking, and sometimes he's just plain ridiculous.
And that's the beauty of it, right? You never know what's going to come out of his mouth next. But you can bet it'll be entertaining. If you're looking for a good laugh and maybe some food for thought, check out the Bad Friends podcast. You won't regret it. Until next time, keep it deep, keep it weird, and keep exploring.